On this episode, the Championship Off-Road Series will kick off its 2021 season in Antigo, Wisconsin. Andrew and the Carlson Moto team are anxious to get back to racing, but they are not the only ones. An elite group of racers will be setting the bar high for the season by setting their eye on the prize at the top of the podium. Will Andrew and his crew be able to carry the momentum from 2020 into 2021?
Super hot in there. I was pissed because
This is Inside Off-Road.
First time we've raced here, track's pretty cool. It's an oval track with some infield rhythm sections and all that. So it kind of takes me back to the first couple years we got into off-road, and I feel like traction's going to be a really big key on this track. Just with the high oval, they got a lot of really cool red clay dirt that gets hard and slippery and blue groove, and you're going to need to be hooked up. So I'm super pumped that we got Yokohama and the trackside guys here helping us, getting us all dialed in, grooving up some sweet tires, and I feel like that's going to be a huge advantage for us.
Coming into this weekend was a little stressful. It's always that first time out on the track. Yesterday was probably the most stressful time. Make sure it finished, we didn't have any problems. We did great, going into it. We're thinking, did we, what we did over the off season, was it worth it? And it was. I mean, we came out our first practice, it was like our last year's practices at the end of the year. Super happy. There wasn't a lot of changes we had to do to the truck. All of our changes were for the better and did what we thought they would.
But we're sitting pretty good for starting. I think we're on the front row in UTV and being second row in Pro 4. So starting near the front where we want to be, and I like the track a lot. I really like how technical it is, and feel like both cars are even further ahead than we were last season at the end of the year. A lot of it's going to come down to me. I just got to make sure I'm good between the ears, and just thinking smart, running good lines, and I got to come out aggressive on the first lap.
Go, Shane, 2x2 rolling start, and we're already underway. The green flag 5's going in front of this huge crowd. Kyle Olson has the early race lead in that Can-Am. Carlson looks down to the inside. Will Carlson taking away that spot? Now he takes over the lead. They're 3 wide coming off the tabletop.
I knew there were some fast guys right on my heels, so I just started clicking off laps. We were out front. Track was a little greasy, they overwatered it quite a bit, so my biggest thing was I didn't want to blow a corner and push wide and have him go underneath me. So
he's backing it in like a Pro 4, going to try to get a run on the inside. He might have found something, Shane.
I was a little tentative right away, just protecting the bottoms. Probably wasn't driving it in as deep as I needed to, but Corey was keeping me calm over the radio, and he worked into it with me a little bit, and we started driving the thing harder.
Once again into the Falcon Tires final turn. Carlson, Van Eppert, about 2 car lengths separate the two. Down the Amsoil home stretch, checkered flag is out, and Andrew Carlson takes the win in round 1 of ProMod side-by-side.
Super awesome to start the first race off on top of the podium, and I felt like it gave me good confidence going into the Pro 4. To get that for the guys too, I think we've been working so hard in the shop. We want a top-notch car, and we need new parts on the thing, and we're going into the first race, and we probably had 40 laps of testing, and then had to put all new parts on. But everything felt pretty good till I had to draw my invert. So as the points leader after the first day, they got a hat with a bunch of chips in it with numbers on them and make you draw it, and that's basically your starting position. So usually it's like 0 through 6. I think they took all the good ones out.
Sorry, boys, I drew a 10.
So I pulled a chip out and it had a 10 on it, and I about tipped over. Just didn't even know that was an option, so just pretty bummed because I knew we were going to be, you know, buried in the pack the next day. Yeah, so we hopped out of the Pro Mod, talked with Corey and the guys, and just started regrouping. After the race, tried to get a game plan for this Pro 4 race. I knew it would probably get back to somewhat what it was like in qualifying when it was all tore up, because basically the same abuse was going to happen to it, you know, through all of the races. So the first race, everyone wants to make a statement, so there's almost more pressure on it, just to get out there and charge.
Yeah, how much time do you think you got?
Tell you how to get around there fast? Yeah. All right, that was all that's good. Watch over my brother, Lord. Just keep him safe out there. He had a good first race. We're just praying for another good one in this one. But as always, we want a safe one out there. And you're also able to
Thank you.
The Pro 4s are now on the track.
We were starting 4th in Pro 4, so I knew I needed to get out front as soon as I could. Just having LeDuc and CJ behind me. I ended up having a gap between Jimmy Henderson and Johnny Greaves in front of me, and it was closing, and I just shot the gap. Going into turn 1, so we were 3 wide going into the first turn, and there just wasn't enough room. After turn 3, when I hooked it in, it started over-rotating, and I could feel it was off the corners. I had to steer into it to get it to go straight. So, and then after a few laps, I saw an axle laying on the track, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's mine. Without four-wheel drive in that truck, it was a handful. It took the fun out of it a little bit. Any of the right-handers, every time I'd flick it in, it would pick up the inside tire and turn into a two-wheel drive truck. So just trying to keep it from spinning out was a handful, and but at the end of the day, I stayed out there and didn't quit, guys kept breaking and stuff was happening, so we ended up rolling across the line in 3rd. So
Hey, Race, do you want to go grab that axle?
They threw it back in the truck in the middle of the race.
Came right out? Yeah, the front right.
It broke.
It fell out on like lap 1.
Way to hang in there. That's all right.
I thought it blew diff. It sounded like
Well, the first time you spun out, and then you could see the left front. The left front was still pulling, the other one wasn't.
good run.
Is that your axle laying up there?
Yeah.
it was a solid points day. We finished the race, and to walk away with 2 podiums on the first day was better than we've probably ever done on the first weekend on the first day. So.
I saw it. What a race that was.
Andrew and the Carlson Moto team get a dose of glory by racking up points in the Pro Mod class. The team heads back to the tent for a long night to assess the wear and tear on the Pro 4 and start working on getting a new axle put back into place before the start of tomorrow's race. Now it's time for this week's Tech Tip featuring Yokohama.
Hey guys, Andrew here. I'm here with Paul from Yokohama. We're going to be doing a little tech tip here at the first race in Antigo. We're going to be talking about tires and tire pressures. In off-road, tire pressure is a super big deal. We check it all the time, especially with temperature fluctuations. We're checking it every time we go on track, making sure we're putting it all around the same on all corners of the car, and we document it. And you know, certain tracks are maybe a little rockier, or you know, if they beat up the tire a little bit more, we'll keep it in our notes and run a little more tire pressure at certain tracks. And then certain types of dirt, if it's really abrasive dirt and you have tons of traction, you maybe don't need quite as much tire pressure. You maybe go on the safer side and try to keep a little stiffer sidewall. So it's a big tuning part of our program, and it's really important.
Hey, thanks for mentioning that, because just as important as it is for Andrew on the racetrack, it's equally important to everybody just on their everyday driving vehicles. So especially here in the Midwest, where you have temperature changes from 0 degrees, and then transitioning to springtime, you could have 60, 70 degrees just a week later. That could affect your tire pressure by 7 pounds up or down, depending on which way the temperature is going. So it's critical in these seasonal changes that you're constantly monitoring your tire pressure. All that information can be found right on the door, the driver's side door placard. There's a sticker there that has the recommended tire pressure for your vehicle specifically. So again, like Andrew said, it's important to maintain that tire pressure so you're getting the full footprint of that tire on the ground for maximum traction, as well as wearing the tire out nice and evenly. You don't want to overwear the edges by having an underinflated tire. You don't want to overinflate the tire and then the center wears out very quickly. So having that even tire pressure is critical, and checking your tire pressures is really the only way to make sure your tires are working properly.
The sun rises on a new day of racing in Antigo, Wisconsin. Andrew and the team are ready to bring the momentum from yesterday, but as the team is preparing for the day and making sure the Pro 4 is race ready, they run into an issue with tech inspection. The Pro 4's wheelbase is exceeding the maximum width.
We gotta adjust some spacers up front to make it a little narrower, basically, or a touch wide. So this is why you pre-tech.
If the truck doesn't pass inspection, the truck will be disqualified from the race. After a few adjustments and removing the wheel spacers, the truck finally passes inspection and is ready for Andrew to get behind the wheel and go head-to-head once again with the talented Pro 4 class.
Well, hold your breath, Shane. It's about time to throw the green flag for Pro Mod side by side. Remember, Kyle Cheney, one of the favorites. He's got to start dead last in this field. And there we go, green flag for Pro Mod side by side. Jerry.
First lap we went out, the guys were breaking axles and parts in the first lap. Then I think the guy in the pole ended up hitting the tire in the second turn and caused a big pile up.
Carlson, there he is on the inside, just ball tying through that table.
Polaris versus Can-Am. This is your battle for the lead, and Cheney takes over the lead from 20th to 1st in 3 laps.
Cheney gapped everybody out. He went from like last to first, and he was on a mission. He blew a motor the day before, so he had plenty of motivation to throw it all out on the line and throw it on some heaters. They really overwatered the track, and he was backing it in, and he took everybody to school.
Once again going into turns 1 and 2. Look at that, they go right around one side. Van Epert and Carlson split the lap car there as they go
in the right-hander in the center, which was a really tough corner. And it isn't one that I would think would be a big passing corner, but that's where I ended up making all my passes. So we were really fast there the day before, and it gave me a big run for the whoops. So yeah, it was kind of one of those deals where if I could get by them, I knew they wouldn't have a chance to retaliate, because it was one of my stronger sections.
Right in that number 15, look at him just flying through that rhythm section. Man, Rodney Van Epert, he's very, very fast. That just shows you how well put together that car is, and Andrew Carlson has learned that Pro Mod so well, and it's just been so fast.
I knew if I had any chance at winning, I'd have to be in second. Put me in a tough spot because my buddy was in front of me, Robert, and he wasn't making any mistakes. So I knew we had some speed, yeah, we caught him. I think he left the door open going in the right-hander, and it was pretty greasy on the bottom, but it was one of those things where I didn't really even think it through. I saw an opening and I had to shoot.
Oh, look at that, another slide job pass. Beautiful pass there by Andrew Carlson.
By the time I got into second, he was, I think, 10 cars in front of us. So I tried for a couple laps, put in some heaters and see if we could close that gap a little bit, but he was running really smooth out front. He wasn't making any mistakes, and it was just too little too late.
Good run, dude. Sorry, got into you. A little greasy down there. That was fun. I was not trying to throw a door on you. I'm like, oh, okay. I was full turn. No tire touch. Like, dude, that was so turn. I was like, oh, I'm gonna take us both out.
It's gonna be a close season. There's a lot, all the manufacturers have fast cars and a lot of good drivers. So it's gonna be an interesting year. I think there's a lot of competition in that class.
Now I want to talk about.
We got in the Pro 4 and we were in a good spot all race. I feel like we were in the top 3 a lot, and the truck was running really good. I felt a lot better than the day before, just having all 4 wheels spinning.
800 and 900 plus horsepower on the track in Pro 4. Here we go, Shane.
Three-wide contact, that's Johnny Greaves. Henderson and Carlson was stuck in the middle, but Carlson's going to come out of that in second place, trying to run down Leduc into Cooper Tires' corner.
The Monster Energy back, number 99, WD-40 on board as well, out in front early.
Leduc broke, and then CJ ended up getting by us, so we stayed in second. But we reeled in CJ pretty good the second half, and we were all over him. I feel like we would have made a move on him the last lap, at least tried. I'm not saying it would have stuck or anything, but we were definitely in a spot where we were in a position to attack. So yeah, and then I was getting some pressure from the guy behind me, so I had to protect the bottoms going in the corner, and they were really muddy, so you basically had to back them in. Several laps in a row, I was looking at the guy behind me as I'm going in the corner, which is just an eerie feeling. Just knowing if I left the door open, he was gonna sneak in there, and I was going to do the same for CJ. Yeah, in the last lap, we were running second, running pretty good. I felt awesome in the truck, and knew I was going to have to protect and attack at the same time. So it was a lot going on. Hucking the truck into turn 3 on the last lap, and something happened with the downshift or a gear stuck, but I got stuck in third. As I was backing it in, and I couldn't keep the RPMs up, and I'm stalling the truck. And then, of course, it wouldn't refire right away. So just after being hot for the whole race, it was a bummer. Just re-looking at the footage from the weekend, it was hard too, especially knowing that we were running pretty good. I think we had the speed to be up front, and yeah, it was ultimately a mistake I made, and this bummer for the team, but. Somehow I think we still managed to get fourth, just with all the carnage happening and guys breaking. But Similar to the day before, just not how we want to get a 4th place. Not that we ever do want to get one, but you know, it could have been worse.
Stay tuned for the next episode, where Andrew and the Carlson Moto crew heads to the Big House, the Crandon International Raceway, to take on a group of determined drivers in the infamous Turn 1, known for its metal-twisting carnage and a tremendous amount of adrenaline.